Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I got a little creative and filmed a tutorial for this eye look using the Becca and Jaclyn Hill palette from the Champagne collection. Like, holy crap. I love the packaging on this. I think it's so cute. So I'm going to talk about the package. I'm going to talk about the product a little bit, and then I will show you guys the tutorial for this eye look towards the end of the video. So if you've already seen 10 million, can't talk. Absolutely cannot talk. If you've already seen 10 million videos on this, my apologies. Just skip to the tutorial if you want to see it. But for those of you who want to know my 2 cents on this palette, just keep watching. So package, super cute. It feels good in your hand. It doesn't feel light and cheap. Not that anything Becca has ever done has ever felt that way, but just to note, it feels good. So on the front, we have Jaclyn Hill and then Becca around with confetti. Super cute. And then the back is metallic gold. And then it's got the names of the blushes, which I truly appreciate because the little plastic thing that comes in here, I don't keep. So we've got the names of the blushes. Awesome. And the highlighters, duh. And then you open up and we've got Prosecco Pop and Champagne Pop. Prosecco is the newest one. And then we have Rose Spritz, which is a luminous blush. I do get a little bit of texture with this guy. It does dull down a little bit if I put the La Mer powder over top, but just something to note. Then we have Amaretto, which is a mineral blush. And then Pamplemousse, which is also a mineral blush. I'm going to show you guys swatches of this, and just in case you were wondering, you do get a sample of the Becca Backlight Priming Filter in the package that this comes in. I love that. So yeah, if you haven't tried it, it's nice to try. It is a good one. I'll probably use that for traveling because I'm about to go on vacation. So anyway, I'm going to swatch both the old highlighter, which was Champagne Pop, and then Prosecco Pop side by side. You can see Champagne Pop is more of a champagne-y color, and then Prosecco Pop is more of like a true gold, and I'll insert something to show you guys. Last year, I took Champagne Pop back, so I'm glad that I don't have that already in my collection, but my skin has changed quite a bit. So last year, I had too much texture when I wore it, and then this year, I still get texture with it. I'm not gonna lie. Still get a little bit of texture, which is not my favorite, but it isn't as bad as it was last year. So I'm going to keep this palette, and I probably will end up wearing these highlighters more as eyeshadows, and then also more so at nighttime when the sun isn't like glaring and showing every textured pore on my face. But they are pretty highlights. Just keep in mind, if you have texture on your face, these are going to amplify it. Like, there's no way around it. It is absolutely going to happen. So just keep that in mind. And then the blushes, I have Rose Spritz. This one right here. I think that's like Max Petal Power on crack. Like, insane. And then Petal Powder has a little bit more gold, but super pretty. So this is the only frosty one in there. Again, this will show texture. And then Amaretto, which is what I have on my cheeks right now. And then we have Pamplemousse, which is so bright. I think that if you are fair, these highlighters are going to work on you if you dust them on like I did today. But I think it's more geared towards middle to deeper skin tones. I think you'll get better like results with it. I think these highlighters in particular look better on deeper skin tones, or like middle, medium. You guys know what I'm saying. The blushes are all super pigmented, so I think I'm gonna use the blushes more than I will the highlights. But as you can see, if you play around and get creative, you'll be able to use the palette even more. So it is a super duper pretty palette. I'm glad to have it. And if you guys want to see how I created this little cut crease using this palette, just keep watching. My brows are already done, eyes are already primed, and the very first thing I'm going to do is grab a matte bone colored shadow. Usually I use Blanc type, but because it's being discontinued, I'm going to switch it up. And I'm going to grab Fresh from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I'm going to put this all over the lid and all the way up to the brow, and I'm using a large MAC 252. The reason why I'm doing this first is so that when I go in with the other shadows, they will blend really easily. So they're not getting stuck and really adhering to that soft ochre paint pot. They'll move around a little bit more for you. Now, before I go in and map out where I want the cut crease to be, I'm going to map out where my eyeliner would go. Because my eyes are a little uneven, I like to know exactly where my eyeliner is going to go on each side so that I can have an even amount of space between the liner and the cut crease. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a gray shadow. Really any soft color will work, but I'm just going to grab Stone. This is like a little Sigma liner brush, and I'm going to map out where my little winged liner is going to lay so that it'll make my life a little easier. I changed it up and went with a darker shadow. I grabbed, what color is this? Ash brown instead, because really close up I can see the gray, but then when I'm trying to look in my mirror, I couldn't see it. So I just switched it up, but now I know where my liner is going to fall, so we can start with the cut crease. Now I'm going to use a MAC 263 brush. This is an angled brush. This is just my favorite brush to use to do cut creases because of the way this moves. It just glides on the eye. It's not super stiff, so I can get a little bit easier movement out of it. It's just much easier with this brush in particular. And now I'm going to grab Amaretto out of the Becca palette, and I'm going to start this guy. So what I want to do is make sure that when I'm looking straight at the mirror, that I'm going right above where my natural crease is, so that when I'm looking at you, you can actually see the design on the eye. And if you go straight into the crease, you're not going to see it. It's going to be in the fold and you won't see the look. So make sure you're going right above where your natural crease is. I'm going to start on the inner corner here. And do a line towards the nose and bringing it up right above the crease. Make sure you're keeping your eyes open for this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and forth. So when I do this side, I'm going to go over and do this side so that they stay as even as possible. Then gradually take the line, small strokes right above the crease. Right here, just rounding it out. And then I'm going to be bringing that shape down. And then out here, right above where we have that liner. So it's going to go up and out. Now I'm taking the same shade in a MAC 221, and I'm just going to start building on that line we have. But make sure you're angling your brush upward because we don't want to mess up and bring the shade downward. We want to keep the lid area clean. And take your time with this and just gradually build it. And I'm also taking all the excess and bringing it up kind of like you would a transition shade. Just make sure there's not too much on your brush when you're doing this. And just buff it upward so it's really nice and smooth at the top so there's not a harsh line. I'm really bringing it into my nose area right here. And then flicking it out. Same brush, but now I'm going in with Rose Spritz, this like super shiny one. And I'm going to get that on the brush and I'm going to go closer to the line. I'm not going to bring it up as far. And I'm just basically deepening up right where the line is. And then we'll take the darker shade and really define the line. But take your time. I'm not putting a lot of pressure. Try not to get frustrated. This isn't something that's just going to like come naturally and just, well, for some of you it will. But it does take some time. I'm just blending and blending and blending. This video will look like it took me 10 minutes to do my eye, but really it took much, much longer. I'm sitting here dipping back in, going back in small sections, and then dipping into the product again, going out a little further, and just using very light pressure and just going back and forth, back and forth. When I get out here, I really am flicking it out so that there's not a harsh end to it. Now I'm going back with my 263 and I'm grabbing the darkest blush, or the deepest, I guess, and it's Pamplemousse. And I am going to really define the line. So Again, take a deep breath in and start where that line is and just start adding color and really deepening up the base of this line. On a MAC 242, I'm going to grab Champagne Pop and I'm going to put it right at the arch of the brow. Nowhere else, just at the arch of the brow. And now I'm going to take that same brush, I cleaned it off on my pants of course, and I'm going to grab the other highlight shade, Prosecco Pop, and I'm going to get it on the brush, and then I'm going to grab my MAC Fix Plus, unlock it, and spray my brush twice, and I'm going to start cleaning up this cut crease with it. So I'm going to start at the center or the front of the eye in small strokes, and to start cleaning up the front, and I'm gonna really bring this on the inner corner as well. Grab some more product, spray the brush again, this time only once, and then keep cleaning up right underneath that line. And you're gonna have to keep repeating the process because this isn't a cream, it is a powder, so we have to keep wetting it and keep working with it to really get the pigmentation and to be able to clean up the line properly. Make sure though you're holding your brush further back because if the brush gets too wet, it will not work out for you. And then I'm bringing this gold, get some on the tip of my brush, and bring it right in between the two lines. So where your liner is gonna go and where we brought out that cut crease. Clean up any fallout you get because I am getting quite a bit doing this. I'm just using a little synthetic dual fiber brush. Now I'm going to add in my liner, and I'm just going to use the Tattoo. I've got the little sample size. I'm going to use this Tattoo liner by Kat Von D. I'm going to do my wing and I'll be right back. Did my liner and I did it a little thicker so that it would be a little bit more dramatic, and I'm going to grab Amaretto, I think that's the name of it, on a NARS pencil brush, and I'm going right underneath the lower lash line with this, and I'm also dragging it up underneath that wing just a little bit. Now I'm going in with a MAC 212 and Rose Spritz, and I'm going to push this at the lower lash line to really pinken up the lower lash line. And I'm just wiggling the brush back and forth, back and forth. Going to add my mascara. I like to bend it like this. This is the Pro Beyond Twisted Lash by MAC. I'm going to do my top and bottom lashes, and then I'm going to go in with falsies. And the falsies I'm going to use are the MAC 35 lash. But I'm going to do this first, apply a few coats, and then pop those on. So I finished off the face. I used Amaretto blush on my cheeks, and then I used Prosecco Pop on my cheeks. So you can kind of see that it does add a little bit of texture, not too bad, but probably not as bad just because my skin is a little bit better than it was last year when the other highlighter came out. But the biggest thing to notice is that it doesn't leave a gold stripe on my cheek, so I am fair right now and I can actually get away with this. I'm in between NC15, NC20, and MAC. Mainly go towards the NC20, except for in Studio Fix Fluid, I'm not that dark. But yeah, I like this palette. I love the look. And then, oh yeah, my lips, I used Bite Beauty Honeycomb and then MAC Lapdog Gloss. Yes, I know Lapdog was limited edition, but any nude gloss will work for you. I just keep grabbing that one. And then, of course, I buffed out La Mer powder all over my face. So, anywho, let me know if you guys got this palette, what you think of it, the new highlighter and the blushes, yada yada. And then I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!